where the breathing is easy, the living is good. Out in the great outdoors.
Larry Smith Outdoors is brought to you by Warrior Boats, Vortex, Tub Hotels, Leroy's Meats, Bartline Barrels, Magic Products, Power Sports Company, Mike's Country Meats, Baronet Blinds, Drexel Building Supply, Eskimo and the MRD Group.
Out in the great outdoors.
Not only is he a fisherman, he's an athlete.
Don't fall in.
Why you guys always gotta laugh at everything? It's all funny until I fall in, all right? Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's show. We finally are done with ice fishing, and Lance the Lightning decided to take the Warrior 2090 out today, and we made a little road cruise up to Green Bay, and we're gonna try for some walleyes, huh Lance?
Give it our maiden voyage
Hey
here,
buddy,
Larry.
I'll
See
tell
what
you
happens.
what.
Finally off the ice.
I'm sure glad that we got them shacks put away. It was one of them winners where, boy, I'll tell you, you didn't know what was going to happen from day to day as far as ice conditions.
It was touch and go. I'm just happy that we did have a season. You know, a lot of people that were unfortunate had very little ice fishing to deal with.
Yeah,
so
you think
at
about
least
the
we had a
guys up
season.
in Sturgeon Bay. Boy, I'll tell you, a
Right.
lot of them never even ran anything.
Right.
You know, got a special guest today too.
We do, the one and only Dominic.
Dominic.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Dominic?
Good, how
I
are
can see
you?
he's not going to be afraid of the camera today.
No, not at all. Hey, I'll tell you, Dominic, we actually got to take him out of school today, which
Yep.
was pretty cool. Hey,
me
Lance, I'll
hostage.
tell you what, great day guide service. You know what? You definitely are a full-time guide,
Yep.
and you're fishing. Of course, you live on Lake Winnebago. You fish that whole system.
We're starting out in De Pere right now, but we just fish this for a week or so, make sure everything's working good, get the bells and whistles out. But then we'll be going up to the tributaries up in the Oconto, Peshtigo, Marinette area. Fish the system up there. A lot of jigging, a lot of casting. Stay away from the trolling. It's all hands-on fishing. This time of year is an awesome time of year because you don't see many fish under 15 inches. You know,
No.
most of your fish are 22 and up to 32.
Kind of funny this morning, I was leaving the farm, and Little Sinker's like, hey, I've heard so much about coming up to De Pere, all the fish. He wanted to come along, and right now he's mesmerized by this monster hummingbird. What is this, a 15-inch screen here?
Yeah.
He's looking at that going, well, you know what he's looking at? He sees all the fish on the screen, and he's like, Larry, shut up and let's start fishing. We're out to catch some fish, open water finally. I'm loving it.
Dominic's going to learn a lot today. I'm not saying that any of it's good, but he'll learn a lot. Good job, Dominic.
Oh, you did it, Dominic. Yeah. The old typical jig in the middle. Let's start off with a little slow presentation. Just watching the neighbors next to us, catching them like crazy, and I figure I got to slow things down a little bit. Always learn from what others are doing. You don't have to get on top of them. Just kind of watch what's working, you know, especially because I'm a little bit hyper and I like, maybe it's got something to do with the sun drops I've been pounding lately, but we got young Dominic here and we pulled him out of school today. You know what? We figured he's going to learn more in the boat today than he's going to learn in school. So just keep your rod tip in one position and reel really slow.
Larry didn't have so much garbage up
Yeah, I
there
know.
for you, Dominic. You'd
What's
be
wrong
able to
with
make
that,
it.
Larry? What's wrong with that guy?
I'm throwing on a minnow.
You're going to put on a minnow?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Why would you put on a minnow?
Oh, why wouldn't I?
Why would you? Just dragging it really slow. Again, you know, I was moving a little too fast, before, and the guys in the Lund over there, I was watching them guys, and as soon as they pulled up there, they swatted a couple right off the bat, and they're just barely moving it, which makes a lot of sense. Water temperature's cold. It's early in the morning. I mean, how do you know Dominic?
I knew he had to go with us. He's one of my brother's best friends, but what made my decision that he's got to go fishing with us, he told me that when him and his mom go shopping, Dominic brings a pole and fishes the retaining ponds.
Really?
At Pick and
Instead of
Save.
shopping.
So by Pick and Save, there's a pond where I live, and every time they go shopping, I just fish instead of going shopping.
See how that goes? His mom's in there spending money, right? Dominic's trying to provide for the family. And how old are you?
13.
13. Can you imagine when this kid is like 20 years old? He'll probably be running the country. That's a fatty. That's a fatty. Back in the drink. She did sink. It wasn't like a mink.
Oh, little guy.
Oh, nice job, Dominic.
Got to start somewhere, buddy.
Yep.
And while you're holding them up, think of what all your friends are doing in school.
Dominic, tell everybody where you go to school.
Tippler Middle School.
Tippler. Where's Tippler?
In
Oshkosh?
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what, there's nothing more satisfying than being able to be consistent on your fishing. And this morning, I was kind of watching what some of the guys next to us were doing, and basically slowing your technique down was absolutely crucial. So what we did right away in the morning here is we were actually spot locked right on a break, and we started casting the deep side and the shallow side because we were watching our side imaging and there was fish on both sides of the boat. So basically what we were doing is that, and you'll see that a lot of times early in the morning, what these fish are going to do, especially in the spring like this, is they're going to lay a little bit deeper. Because the deeper water, when you get these cold nights like this, the deeper water is typically going to be the warmer water. Totally the opposite of what most people would think. And then if the sun comes out and it starts warming things up, you'll see how these fish will actually transition from the deeper water, and they're typically right on the breaks right there. So you're always watching them breaks of the river where it drops right, starts dropping down. Them fish are laying right there. And then what will happen is as the morning progresses and the day progresses, is what happens is that sun is shining, warming up that shallow water. You'll actually see them fish on your locator start working their way up the break. It's always key to start off when you think about this, and this happens a lot when you have cold nights or you get a snowstorm that comes in. It cools that water temperature down, and even though it's just small increments as far as cooling it down, it makes a big difference in the spring. So what you want to do is start off with a small profile and go as slow as you can as far as what you're casting, either it be plastics or you're casting live bait. And what really was the key this morning was definitely casting live bait. And the other part is you're thinking about this is that you're casting onto a river where it's got a real silty bottom. So using the lightest jig possible, and I was pitching a 1/4 ounce jig to start off with, and I always like a jig that at least has a stand-up style to it, like this jig right here. Or the other part is if you don't have a stand-up jig, you really keep your rod tip up really high and try to keep that jig, you're controlling that jig with your rod in the line. And so you keep that jig from falling into the silt. So you're lifting real small and you're only pulling back, you know, anywhere from 4 to 6 to 10 inches at a time. Real slow, dragging it super slow like that. And that was the key this morning to getting these fish to trigger on the bait.
First one on artificial. Gotta love it. Larry's leading the way today. That's all right, as long as we're part of the party.
Hey everybody, it is my favorite time of the day. It is our Leroy lunchtime, and we've got some really good stuff back at the truck, but it's always kind of nice when you're out in the boat to have something really good. And we've got some smoked Italian mozzarella sausage sticks, and I wonder if Dominic would want one.
Sure.
You would, Dominic. I will give you the first one there, oh Dominic. Just kind of keep mixing it up. It's kind of interesting when you have this many fish down there just to kind of put different baits on and try it, see what they want.
You did that?
Nope, just a little one. Just a baby. This is kind of fun. I haven't done this in a long time. Decent fish, you know. Little pop and a drop. Following it down, working that plastic. time. I'm sick of having fun. Easy come, easy go. Yep, just keep your rod tip up. They'll give it a little bit of a pop. Keep your rod more in front of you though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got somewhere to set it.
And a boy, Dominic.
Ooh, that's a nice one, Dominic.
One over 19. Dominic. Biggest walleye, buddy, you ever caught, right?
Yeah.
Okay, show us the good pose. Go right in here, right there. Okay, yep,
And then under right here.
yep. Just so your hand, you never want to see your fingers.
Come on, good job, buddy. Let that girl back in. Attaboy. Good job. I can honestly say I'm not missing ice fishing today, Larry.
No, not at all.
Life is good. I think the fish bite's turning on. Fish them up.
Hey, as you could see, as the morning progressed, these fish got a little bit more aggressive, and they did slide up right up on that break right there. They were in anywhere from about 4 to 7 feet of water. And so what I decided to do is I went with a plastics, and what I did is I basically was using a grub and a little bit different style. This is more of a paddle tail grub. And again, it's one of them kind of things where I knew that the fish didn't see a lot of this style of grub. And sometimes when you're fishing these high profile spots like this, in De Pere is one of them kind of places where everybody migrates to go. It's one of the first places that opens up. There's always a ton of fish there. So again, trying to really mix up what you're doing, because you got to remember, these fish see a lot of baits. So basically what I was doing is I was pitching to them. I was just pitching across that current. I'm always pitching like at a 45 across the current, and it was a lighter current up there, and basically just kind of dragging it, pulling my line constantly to the side, and again, not letting that jig go down into the bottom. I think a lot of times what happens is everybody wants to use a jig that's a little bit too heavy. Always start off on the other end of the spectrum. Use a jig that's really light. You need to control it yet, but the lighter, especially early in the spring like this, the lighter you go, the more productive it's going to be. So that's another key technique is, you know what, again, just kind of watch these fish. It's amazing how an hour or two, especially if the sun is out, how it'll change the attitude of these fish. Go, Dominic, go. Go, Dominic, go.
You fighter.
Yeah, you got a feisty one there, young buckaroo.
Gonna mouth them.
Good job, Dominic.
Got a bass on our hands.
Oh, nice job, buddy.
Nice backbone on these Megs rods.
Yeah, they do. They got great backbone. Gotta be a good one, huh?
20 incher. Yeah. They aren't hailing no more. This morning, all the fish that we were catching, just the hook was just barely on the lip right there. Last 3 fish have been like that there. And when they get that hungry, even I can catch them.
I got him on the shiver spoon again. Ooh, feels good, really good. Let's see what he did to that spoon. Let's see if he inhaled that spoon or not. Oh yeah, look at that spoon. Go on. You know, the last, I would say 4 or 5 years on our system, the spoons have really come on strong. And again, this is a new spoon by Moonshine Lures. And it comes in a variety of colors, like everything that they do, and weight sizes too. So you can fish it shallow, you can fish it deep, you can fish it slow, you can fish it fast. Just a great action to it.
That one might be a little better one, huh?
Yeah, it looks like a good one.
It's fighting like a good one. Oh yeah.
Nice walleye.
Ooh, that's a good one. Now he's warmed up and he's definitely got the technique down. When you start thinking about coming up into these tributaries like the Fox River here where there's so many fish, these kids have an opportunity, and people that don't have a lot of opportunity to catch a lot of wallies, they get a good feel for it because obviously you're getting bites all the time. Hey everybody, this week's tip of the week brought to you by our good friends up in Tigerton, Mike's Country Meats, the finest jerky on the planet. Hey, I'll tell you something, when you start thinking about spring, and everybody's excited, the weather is warming up here and the fish are piling into the rivers today. We're up here in De Pere, and you know, we got a little bit of wind and it's blowing back here opposite of the current. So you want to make sure your jig is definitely heavy enough that you can control it, but not too heavy where it's going to drag. And the other part is always try to use some kind of super braid because you're going to have more sensitivity and have a better chance of feeling the bottom. Plus, it's going to cut the current better. And I also like to use a high vis line because a lot of times, like I was saying today, we have the wind blowing up against the current here, and it's really sometimes hard to feel where that jig is going at all times. So I can, at least if I can't feel it, I can see the jig hitting the bottom again with that high vis line. Hey, again, this week's tip of the week brought to you by our good friends up at Mike's Country Meats, the finest jerky on the planet. He's like, forget you guys. I'm going back in my cage.
Fish are all stacked about 25, 30 feet over that way. That's where Dominic just pulled 2-3 fish out of. Some working the bottom, some up suspended.
Hey, it is amazing when this morning, Lance has got a Garmin unit in here and we're watching the Panoptics, how you can see these fish, basically their mood's changing and they're moving back up on these breaks right there. They're coming off the bottom. They're getting more aggressive. Again, it's time to change from live bait to go to artificials and try to get these more aggressive fish to bite. And what I decided to do is I went with this new spoon from Moonshine Lures. I'm fishing just a little bit deeper. They're right on the edge of the break right now. So what I'm doing is I'm pitching it out there again, and I'm using a 7-foot medium fast rod from Meg's Custom Rods. And basically what I'm doing is I'm snap jigging it now. And every time, the key to this is I'm not lifting it real far off the bottom. I can see these fish are coming up about 1 foot to 2 feet off the bottom. So that's where I'm keeping my bait. I'm keeping it right in the strike zone. So I'm snapping it and I'm always following that bait down. 90% of these fish are going to hit it on the drop. And what'll happen if you're not following that rod back down, they'll hit it and actually spit it out before you come back up. So no matter what kind of fishing you're doing, when it comes to jig fishing, fishing spoons, fishing ripping wraps, fishing shiver minnows, always have contact with that bait. And if you can't have contact with that bait because the wind is too strong or you just don't have a good enough rod to feel it, make sure you use some type of high vis line so that at least you can see that line jump. You know the fish is hitting the bait, or you know that fish is hitting the bottom and you need to lift it up again and get it moving, because that's definitely the key, is having a bait that's going to be able to move its way down the current. If it's too heavy, it's going to hang up, you know, and you're going to lift it up and it's going to drop right back into where you lifted it from, and into that same spot. You want to make sure that it slides. And anytime, and it's some days they want the slide to be, you know, 6 inches, and other times you want that bait to slide a couple of feet. And again, that's one of them kind of things. You kind of watch your locator. You know these fish are here. You can see that they're walleyes on your side imaging, or you can see it on your live scope. You can see they're there, so you just need to kind of figure out what they want. It is amazing, by doing little things, they make such a big difference. So don't forget that. I guide pretty much over 300 days a year, and the people that I bring into my boat aren't just customers and friends, they're actually family. And I always try to keep these people as comfortable as I can and safe, and I cannot think of a better product than a Warrior boat. Why is their customer service so good? Because they know that you're part of their family. Come join the Warrior family. Hey Lance, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now, and it seems to really be working well. And I think it's a great way for people that when your hands get cold, or people that have a hard time trying to find the bottom. Just a great technique, and basically what you're doing is you got your spot locks, so we're basically anchored down here. And Lance, let's explain to everybody what you're doing.
Yeah, let's get this one in here. I just got it back there, and that one hit right away. Basically, this type of fishing, we're just letting the current do the work. So what you do is get it straight behind the boat here. And I'm basically watching that fishing line. And once I get it set up, it's to the point where every time you're dropping it back, you're hitting bottom. So you're basically just working that jig in the same area. We got plenty of fish in this current system, and you're basically just waiting for the fish to come to you. But once you find that sweet spot, lift up, hits bottom, lift up, hits bottom, and then fish are just cruising the bottom of this river right here. They'll come right behind it, see that jig and minnow, and 90% of the time they're hitting it on the drop. You'll be dropping it back, you feel a thunk, and that's a sweet feeling when you can give her a good hook set.
Hey Lance, what an absolutely fun morning we had up there. I'll tell you what, the cool part is that we're back on open water, and you know what? The fish are biting, and it's only gonna get better.
It was a great time, finally off the ice, getting the pole to bend a little bit, getting Dominic some fish.
Yeah.
Dominic, what do you got to say for yourself? Did you have fun today?
Yeah, that was a really good day. I loved it.
Was it well worth taking a day off of school?
Yeah.
That's
Learn
awesome.
more from you guys than I would have learned in school.
I don't know about that. Right. Hey, Lance, let's tell everybody how they can get a hold of you if they want to come out and do some absolutely awesome spring fishing.
Yep. Yeah, the best way to get a hold of me is give me a shout on my phone, 920-410-9920. Or go to Great Day Guiding, leave me a post on there, and we'll get back to you. Get out on some walleye, some perch fishing. Life is good from here on out.
Hey, I appreciate that. All right, buddy. Hey, Dominic, it was nice meeting you. We definitely are going to fish with you again, my friend. Hey, everybody, just like we do each and every week, we're always going to give special thanks to all of our military men and women for the great service they have given us and continue to give us, along with all of our firefighters, paramedics, and no doubt all of our law enforcement agents for the great service they also give us. Hey, and remember, it is a great day to be alive, and thanks for joining us. Hey, Dominic, give me your best J-Rod impression.
Oh, I think I could get all the girls. Ooh.
I'll do one too.
Need a little higher pitch than that, Larry.
Vertical or pitching? We're gonna kick him behind here. Dominic, you're the one. You make fishing so much fun.
Tell him that again.
You're a good cameraman.
I'm the best.
Or
He's talking to me.
Oh, have you got Rod?
He said you have a good cameraman.
I'm not the best camera guy in the whole world. He's the best. He's the best.
Oh, you okay? Dominic's eating the Girl Scout cookies, and I'm catching the fish.
Yeah, for once.
Pop, 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 pop.